San Diego Comic-Con is in full swing this week, and we are getting a bunch of news about the new Picard show via an interview between Alex Kurtzman and Michael Chabon. Let's pour it up! Hey everybody, welcome back to the show. We have some hot news, I guess you could say, as San Diego Comic-Con has officially kicked off today. Obviously, Star Trek isn't going to have their full Hall H panel until Saturday, I think at around 11:30. But that doesn't stop people from taking photos of different things that are already set up at San Diego Comic-Con and the different news outlets and stuff like that from poking and progging at the different Star Trek people there for information. And that is what we've got to cover for today. So I would expect probably another Earl Grey Pour Up tomorrow and a huge one on Saturday/Sunday to cover all the information that we're going to be getting over the next couple of days. So before we get into this little interview that Alex Kurtzman and Michael Chabon did with Entertainment Weekly, let's talk a little bit about some of the photos that we've seen just from people taking them at San Diego Comic-Con. So first up, we have, obviously, I think some of you guys have already seen this, our man Picard here wearing some very nice, drab-looking clothes with what appears to be his family crest pin there, if you see that kind of above his right chest there, right there. It looks like that one that we've seen previously reported on. Then we got his dog, and he's in his vineyard, and he's got his cool walking stick. Now, we've seen Patrick Stewart on set and a lot of different leaked photos that were posted up online, and he did not have the walking stick. So I don't know if it's something that he needs absolutely, or if it's just something he uses to help trim the verge, if you will, or, maybe he just thinks it looks cool. He's got that cool dapper-ass hat on, so I don't know. I think it looks nice. Next photo that we have up here is the Picard First Duty Museum. Now, I reported on this just a couple of weeks ago. Inside of this one is going to contain props from all of the different things that we've seen Picard utilize inside of Star Trek previously, all the way things from, his cool flute to, his teacup that I have one of. He's going to have his, remnants of the Borg Queen that he snapped. It's going to have different uniforms. It's going to have different little models of the Stargazer and things like that. And it's also going to include props from the new show, things that we've never seen before, that will be kind of incorporated into the show as it premieres later on this year. So I'm desperately excited to see what it looks like inside of this little storefront that they've set up here for the First Duty. So I hope that people start sending me photos about it. I know one person on Twitter has reached out and said he'll send me some photos and snap a couple of little pics for me so that way we can report on them here. But if anybody else is there and they would like to, send me some stuff, that would be great, because I am so excited to see what is inside of that little room, because I'm sure that's just going to be not only nostalgia, but also just tantalizing and teasing the imagination of what is to come in the new Picard show. And of course, right here, we have that weird Star Trek Discovery transporter virtual reality experience. There's a video of it, of somebody like inside of it online on Twitter. I think it's kind of like one of those things that I think is, more fun if you're in it, and if you're just watching people, it's like, this just looks like a bunch of weird TVs. But it seems to be like the premise is like the transporter piece is like transporting you to different things from the set of Discovery, whether it's inside of the Discovery or the different, different locations that they've gone. So it's like a fully immersive, like 3D kind of, especially say 3D, but like all kind of around you kind of experience. And you're just transporting around to different sets and different areas of the ship and different things that we've seen in the show. So it looked cool to me, but I could see some people already kind of crapping on it online saying what a bunch of hokey crap. But I mean, if I was there, I would probably totally do it. And so would all of you, if you were there. Even if you were just going to go in there to hate on it, I think you would do it. Okay, so that wraps up the majority of the cool photos that have leaked. There's a lot of repeats of things like billboards of the Star Trek Picard poster posted up everywhere, and different little things, knickknacks that kind of repeat stuff. So those are like the fresh ones that I was able to find. And like I said, I'm sure there's going to be more posted up tonight and tomorrow as people get more and more invested into what's going on with Star Trek while they're there. So I expect another set of photos that we're going to be talking about tomorrow. But with that, we'll put that aside, and let's go ahead and jump into this really brief Entertainment Weekly interview, I guess you could call it. They probably just did like a walk-by press junket between Alex Kurtzman and Michael Chabon, where they asked them a bunch of different questions really quickly, and we've got 7 things that we've now learned about the Star Trek Picard show, and I'm going to run through each one of them right now for you and give my thoughts on each of the ones. So let's first look at question number 1. So, the big thing that people keep commenting on my videos and other videos I've seen online is, oh, it's just some old man and his dog in a vineyard. This isn't Star Trek. This sucks. Well, I mean, I think that Entertainment Weekly saw these comments and decided to ask these guys, hey, is he going back to space? And they answered. Yes, Picard is going back into space. When asked directly if the show is going to be taking place on a starship, the producers apparently dodged the question entirely, but Kurtzman did confirm that the show will live up to its name and events will begin to unfold that pushes Picard back into space. So I think that's great. I think a lot of people were concerned that the majority of this show is going to be taking place on Earth, which I don't even know why that's a concern. Like, if it's a good show, it's a good show, whether it's in space or not. Like, it's not the Enterprise's 5-year mission to explore strange new worlds. That's not what Discovery's about. That's not what this show's about. That's not what any of the shows that we have currently are about. That's what those shows were about. They even said it at the beginning of each episode. Their mission is to XYZ. That's not what these shows are about. So I'm cool if it took place in the entire Chateau Picard vineyard. Whatever. Make the story good. Make me feel something. Get me reattached to these characters. That's what I want. I don't give a daggone if it's in space, if it's underwater. I don't care what it is. If he's underwater with Lewis, and if you guys remember that quote, you guys are as dorky as I am. Okay, so the second part of that first part question was that he will be going into space, but not in the way anyone expects. But what does that mean? It sounds like Picard simply won't get drafted back into commanding a starship, especially considering that Kurtzman reveals next, which is saying the third piece, which is that he is no longer carrying the weight of him being in Starfleet. Kurtzman also says in some ways it's easier to be a great man when you're a captain, but it's an entirely different thing when you don't have an army behind you. When you want to get something done and fight an injustice, how do you do that when you're really one man? So this does fit into some of the stuff that we've already kind of gathered from the information that's come out about the show, which is they have that ragtag group of people working with Picard and supposedly like a Romulan refugee that's kind of like his protege that he's kind of utilizing there. And they're going to go embark on an adventure. And it most likely won't be a Federation ship. It'll probably be like some kind of cool smuggler ship or whatever it is. And they're going to go off and do something that has to do with the mission to save that, messed up to save Romulus. Romulus is destroyed again, and that supposedly killed Spock according to their timeline. We know from the, Kelvin movies that he got sent back in time and created a whole new universe. But in this timeline, they killed Spock, and it killed all the Romulans, and it probably killed some of the TNG cast members, which is probably why Picard left after getting promoted to Admiral of Starfleet. These are all just theories of mine. But yeah, so what this is saying to us is that he's not in Starfleet. I don't expect him to be a captain/admiral of any, taking command of any ships. Or they may do something cool, like maybe at the end where he's got to he's like on the bridge of something and like the captain of that ship gets hurt and he's got to like sit in the chair, and kind of do his thing. I feel like they might do something like that just to kind of give us nerds like a woo, nostalgia trip. But yeah, so it seems as though he's out of Starfleet, which I think we kind of all knew that, and this just basically confirms it. Next up was the question is this season going to be episodic like The Next Generation or serialized like Star Trek Discovery? And Michael Chabon did confirm that this show will be serialized for the most part, just like in Star Trek Discovery. And for those of you guys who don't know the difference, basically, with TNG, if you ever watch that show, you'll kind of notice, for the most part, unless it's a two-parter or like a really long kind of connecting story, each episode is kind of a standalone thing, and there's a bit of a soft reset each episode. So with Discovery, the entire season is one long contained story, and each episode builds upon itself as like just one giant chapter, and that seems to be what they're doing with Picard here. That's not really a big surprise considering it's the same creative team. I feel like they probably want to go that route, and we've already heard that Picard, and Patrick Stewart, I should say, has said flat out that it feels like a 10-hour movie, and if it has that feel, obviously they're going to want to go with the serialized approach. The next question kind of covers a little bit about the background of what the Picard character is that we have right now, which I know a lot of people have been worried about, but I'm going to read this aloud to all of you, and hopefully this calms some of your guys' nerves. So it says here, there are many things that haunt Picard, Kurtzman teases, adding the ill-fated Romulus mission is just one of those things. And Chabon notes the series will incorporate that the character is a different age. A lot older, and we're not shying away from that at all. We're dealing with a man who's in a very different place in his life, Chabon says. Yet at the same time, Picard will still be the man you know and love. Quote, it was terribly important to us that he remains fundamentally Picard, Kurtzman says. You will not see a version that portrays the man we loved from Next Generation. We're not doing that. But we wanted to put a character with that level of morality and leadership and who always does the right thing no matter how hard the circumstances. We wanted to put that to the test. And I think that's great. This exactly seems like the story that I would want to see on screen, which is, what do you do when this guy is faced with possibly this no-win scenario, which we've kind of a story plot that we've experienced before in Star Trek, and now the guy who's always trying to do the right thing is faced with these really hard circumstances and he's kind of put to the test. I think it's great. What these guys are saying is great, and I think it's nice for them to say flat out, like, this is the Picard that everybody knows, but he's just older and things are different and stuff has happened to him over these last few decades. And we're going to see him have the remnants of who he was and also who he is now. And I think it's great. So I just wanted to share that also with a lot of you, because a lot of people were concerned that because they felt like they were saying they're going to change him up, that he was an alternate version of Picard or that they were going to ruin his character. But they seem to be on the money. I understand that some people won't take that at face value and they'll still be complaining and saying, no, I don't believe them. I don't trust what they're saying. They're still going to ruin it. But ultimately, we all got to wait and see. The final question is about Picard being portrayed on screen by Patrick Stewart, which basically is just that apparently his acting ability over the years has improved so much that he's doing an even better job, apparently, at portraying the character. I'm a little worried about this one because I don't want him to act too differently, but I don't know. I want to be positive, but this one concerns me a little bit where they say he's got a different kind of quality to him now, a different kind of acting style. So I don't know. Well, like I said, we haven't even heard him speak in one trailer yet. We've only seen him staring or walking or washing his hands or now standing next to a dog. So, I guess we'll just wait to see. I haven't heard that Picard voice yet, and I'm curious to hear what he's going to sound like. Maybe that seems kind of dumb, but I am kind of curious and not worried, but just curious in general what he's going to actually sound like. Is he going to have that Picard kind of, I don't want to say accent, but that bravado, that presence, or is he going to be something a little bit different? Or is it going to be a mix of things? I don't know, but I'm a little worried, but at the same time, though, I'm very excited, so excited to see what this really means and how this show is going to unfold. All right, let's go ahead and jump right into the comment of the week. Okay, this comment of the week comes from user Thomas, and he says, coffee or tea. Also snubbed again for comment of the week. Clearly a Kurtzman shill. Also, I agree with Hillbilly Gamer. Can't lie, LOL. Well, don't worry there, Thomas. You are no longer snubbed as comment of the week. I think Thomas has literally asked me on every single Earl Grey Pour Up if he could be the comment of the week. So I'm here to please. You guys are the fans. You guys watch, and I was finally able to not find anything too exciting to add as the comment of the week, and I wanted to give Thomas his fair share of enjoying the spotlight. So thank you, Thomas, for being a die-hard Ketwalski fan. It is very nice of you. Anyways, guys and gals, that wraps up today's video. I'm curious to hear what all of you think about the Entertainment Weekly interview with Alex Kurtzman and Michael Chabon. Are you more or less excited about the Picard show? And are you at San Diego Comic-Con? Are you going to be there? Can you send me some pictures? Are you going to tell us what it was like? Also, what do you think about Picard hanging out with his dog and all these other cool pictures that we've gotten? Throw up your stuff down below. Let's get the conversation started, and I'll catch all of y'all next time. Live long and prosper, my Trekkies.